Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Sean Pablo.
Nice to be here. Yeah, I'm excited. Woo!
The first question I'd like to ask is, who is Sean Pablo?
Oh, I'm. Who am I? Oh, I'm a curious man. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a lover of games and competition. I think I just really like to boil things down to their core to understand the building blocks of everything. I like to know why. I'm very curious why about everything. Yeah, so that's me. Pablo, the YouTuber, shares to his Korean audience different ways of thinking from people around the world. So I will often interview people, foreigners living in Korea, about their thoughts about life in Korea so that Korean audience can listen to it. And what I strive to really do is give the maximum, highest quality, both with audio, camera. I'm working on my style these days too, as you know. And I try to make the most interesting topics that anybody would like to listen to and watch. But I find that a lot of my subscribers watch me for English listening. But yeah, I really try to just deliver the highest quality content. And that is basically through asking people really interesting, thought provoking questions, asking 6 to 8 people, kind of doing a survey and just getting different thoughts on that.
The other question I'd like to ask is, so was that the original intent when you began your YouTube channel? Because when I first saw your YouTube channel, the oldest video is about dating and romance.
I started YouTube with a friend named David. He and I did YouTube for a year. And so our original intent was to just document our experience learning Korean. So we would just do different challenges and experiences. This is what the old YouTube channel. Hey, can we ride a bus and talk to the bus driver and speak Korean? We were terrible at Korean at the time. Can we go to a dog cafe and order a coffee and, ask about dogs in Korean? Giving ourselves different challenges. And so at one point, maybe after a year of recording, I decided I want to make my own YouTube channel. And we just had some creative differences. So he kept the old channel. I started the current channel, Sean Pablo. And my original intent was just to make videos for the Korean audience. Yes, I've experimented with many types of content: dating, relationships, language learning, language challenges, cultural stuff, East versus West. And I think it organically developed into what it is now. And I think that's just a natural phenomenon of business and of personal development and of branding, I think a lot of people make the mistake like, I have to have the perfect vision in order for me to start. I have to have the perfect plan. I got to know my end game. But a lot of time that's like really overwhelming, If you kind of just start and you just make mistakes and then you kind of correct, I think your vision and your brand will eventually emerge. Or you fail and try something else. So that was my original intent, just to serve the Korean audience and try stuff.
Almost 500,000 subscribers. And there's just an interesting statistic is there's around, I think, 47 million millionaires. And there's only around 321,000 YouTube channels that have over 100,000. You're rarer than a millionaire.
Wow. That makes me feel special. I'm waiting for the millionaire part to come too. Aren't we all?
Yeah. But yeah, why do you think it's so difficult and rare to have a lot of subscribers?
Oh, wow. Well, short answer, YouTube's hard. Long answer would be maybe, people from afar see YouTube as this automatic, easy thing. It's an easy life. Once I get subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, I can just kick back and put my feet up and just, drink lemonade. And
I mean, you dress like you would.
yeah, right now I don't. It's all just part of the plan. But they realize, people start YouTube and they think it's easy, an easy life, and they realize that it's really freaking hard. You go weeks and weeks and months and maybe even years with very low views because it's so competitive right now, right? How do you set yourself apart? Now with the advent of AI and all this stuff, it's getting even harder. You have people doing all types of content with just AI and they're getting better at it. So I think as YouTubers make better and better videos, that means me and you have to compete with that too. We got to continue to up our game. And what else does that mean? It means that the viewers get used to a higher level of quality as their base. So if you're just starting out with YouTube, you're down here, you're not even at the quality of level that they're used to, right? We take for granted so much, like how many hours it takes to produce this really high quality commercial for K-drama, right? You take a break from the K-drama, commercial comes out, that commercial took hours to film, hours to edit. So yeah, the long story is people don't realize how hard it is and how you have to be consistent, keep going, keep leveling up. It's tough.
And how much would you say you spend on each of your YouTube videos, recording and editing and everything, even the distribution part of it?
Well, this could lead into another topic, which is burnout. But I'm pretty much almost, my brain is now, I've been doing YouTube for like 7 years. So my brain is always thinking of video ideas. That's kind of always a switch that's turned on. I'm walking down the street. So I don't know if you would consider that work, but sure, if I sit down and I have to come up with an idea for video, that might take like an hour or two. I go out and film the video, that would take 3 or 4 hours. Let's say 4 hours to be safe. Sometimes more, but we'll say 4 hours. I come home, I edit the video, that takes about another 4 hours. Then it has to get subtitles, right? That takes 1 or 2 days. Then I do final edits, add effects and music and stuff. That'll take another 2 to 3 hours. So I gave you a lot of numbers just now. Let me just give an estimate. I would say maybe like 2 to 3 days.
So it's like one full day or 2 full days of not even sleeping, you would say.
Yeah.
And then you said you're always thinking about it. I find that similar with like Mr. Beast. You know, he's always obsessed. And do you think that's kind of required for being successful on YouTube?
Right, 100%. Because like YouTubers are really interesting in that like it's like a mixture of business and a creative like art, but also there's a science to it with the analytics and like thumbnails and hooks and percentages. Sure, we can get into that analytics. But yeah, it's like very creative. So it's like a conversation. It's like anything. It's like you're a musician. And okay, I just finished an album. I just uploaded a video. Yeah, say I'm a musician, right? Well, musicians don't just play music. They listen to 10, 20, 30 albums, hundreds of songs, right? To get inspiration. We're the same way. It's creative. I watch tons of YouTube videos. Similar to me, similar to my channel, and different too, because I find that different art is also useful. You can learn things from everything. So yeah, just like Mr. Beast, I'm always watching, ooh, I want to try that. I want to try that. So you make little notes, and then you see something that works. Ooh, I know something that would work that's similar. I'm going to change it a little bit for my audience. So the switch is always turned on. And yeah, that can be really stressful because it's hard to relax. You know, it's hard to just like, okay, let me just like take a walk and not think about stuff. Let me just meet my friends and talk about a movie, you know? Yeah, it's kind of like artists can kind of make the joke. It's like once you get too into the art, it becomes impossible to just enjoy it, you know? Because you're always just like dissecting it. Yeah, and that combined with other things can lead to burnout. But yeah, it's an important balance you have to strike. Like even this weekend, we had pretty stressful past 2 weeks. Me and my girlfriend, we're probably gonna go to like a log cabin in the woods somewhere in Korea, just to turn it all off.
Yeah, we can recommend you some. And you were mentioning about how you go about learning from different things. I found that similar with Leonardo da Vinci because he had a quote about find the art within science and find the science within art.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I guess you're on the same mindset as Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, you know, you kind of have to because you're kind of moving with the times. You're moving with the viewers. Like Squid Game 2 comes out, right? We're going to have to make some videos related to Squid Game. But everybody's doing that. So how do we do it differently that gets clicks above everyone else, right? It's always a back and forth conversation, which is kind of an art. And I say art because exactly, art has the connotation of inspiration. Let me watch 100 videos and what does that make me want to make? It's less sciencey, but then we can go down to the science. Okay, now I know what I want to make. Let's make it the best possible way based on what has worked before.
Another question I like to ask is, I saw your most popular video. It's almost 10 million views.
Yeah.
And how did you feel when that happened?
Oh, yeah, I do. I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and we were in a cafe. And like, I hadn't seen her in a while. We were just friends, not a date or anything, but like, this was like 6-7 years ago. And all of a sudden, I just got notifications on my phone, and then I'm just checking my views, and the views, you know, the YouTube thing, it's like a bar. From 8 o'clock to 9 p.m. you get this many views, and from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. it was like here. Yeah. Then from 10 to like 12 was like here. It's like whoa, and then I couldn't concentrate on the conversation. I felt really bad, and then she was like, wow. you're popular now. You know, it's like I do remember that. It was a cool feeling. Yeah, first few times. It always feels good, like to get over 1 million views. You know, on a long form video.
I'm trying to imagine it because I want to get to that view count one day. Yeah,
Visualize.
I'm trying to visualize.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another question is like I have a lot of friends and people who want to start YouTube channels or start content creation. They talk about gear. Does gear matter?
No. Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, I feel like you can't put lipstick on a pig. You know. If the content is boring, if the product is not good, it doesn't matter how good the marketing or camera or sound is, like it's just going to be boring, right? You can't dress something like, in other words, if you're making like a nice dish, if you're using rotten meat, it doesn't matter how good the spices or whatever is. You got to use good quality ingredients. In other words, you have to have a good idea and make a good video. And you can do that just with your phone. I mean, look at TikTok. A lot of these guys are just using phones. I used to use just a phone and I would get big views just with a phone. I would have a little selfie stick with the phone and headphones as a mic. And I would just like interview people like this, having to keep this steady and not shake too much. I mean, yeah. If it's good content, it's good content, right? Of course. Good camera and good mics are great. Why? Because when people watch high quality content, it's the same thing as going to like a website that's beautifully designed. You're like, this is a professional. I should probably give them more of a chance. I should watch more. This is probably going to be good, right? I can trust them more, right? Versus like shaky camera. Yeah. Make sure your camera is straight. There's some things you can do. Make sure you don't shake. Use good lighting. Film on a nice day. Don't be like look like shadowy like evil like villain from a movie, you know? Yeah, there's things you could do, but I would say more than anything, content is king. Yeah.
And what would you say are the key components of good quality content?
Oh, great question. Great question. I think, well, you could break a YouTube video down into 3 components: thumbnail, title, and topic, right? So let's start with that. Then we can go into how to do good. So the topic has to be, I think topic is probably the most important thing. Okay. Like there's things you can do like ask questions. You want to make people curious, like tickle them a little bit so that the only way to scratch the itch is to click on your video. What happens when Donald Trump and, Kim Jong-un play one-on-one basketball, right? Like, I don't know, random idea. Or what happens if whatever. I can't think of a good idea right now, The point is like, okay, you can ask questions, you can do like comparisons. You can pose a question or pose a scenario that people want to know the answer to, right? So that's really good. Okay, alternatively, you could just think from the start, okay, what problem am I trying to solve? Now you're just getting into marketing and doing stuff like that. Okay, 10 ways to avoid male pattern baldness, or 5 ways to make more money in 2024, as a YouTuber, right? So you're talking to a specific audience, right? So it depends on what your goal is, right? If you want to get big views, there's a way to do that. If you want to find a really monetizable audience, there's another way to do that. Yeah. And I mean, what makes good content? Good pace. You want to deliver on the YouTube title kind of question or thing very quickly. And don't like delay too much. I mean, imagine you're like, God, my iPhone is not working. How do I reset it? iPhone not resetting when I push the button. YouTube, click search. First video, 10 minutes. Hey guys, my name's Bob. Thanks for watching the video. Click subscribe. Let me tell you about myself. Bro, we don't care. Help us fix the problem, right? And you can make that into you can apply that to everything, right? How do I make money in 2024 as a TikToker? How do I, earn money as a high schooler? How do I, whatever? You want to add value, right? You're competing for them, right? They're doing you a favor watching your free content. Wow, what an age we live in, right? All this free content, you're fighting for eyeballs, right? So you want to deliver value.
And you've interviewed like hundreds and maybe even thousands of people. What are things you've learned about people?
Sure. I think everybody has a different personality, right? And this is why I'm so interested in things like MBTI or the Big Five personality. People think differently, right? So you need to be able to communicate with different types of people, and you're going to get different types of responses. So one thing that I've really learned is some people are really focused on details. Some people are more focused on the big picture. I bet you can guess which one I am, right?
Details.
No,
No, really.
big picture. Anyway, whatever. Yeah. So maybe you can't guess. So okay, sorry. So why does that matter? That matters because okay, I have a question. What were the hardest things to adapt to when you first got to Korea? Someone might answer, nothing was really difficult. I'm not really sure. That question didn't really speak to them. Okay, it's not the question that's wrong. It's not the idea that's wrong. We just have to fix the wording a little bit. Okay, same person, same idea. Around you, like, what are some things you see people struggling with a lot? And have you struggled with anything? Well, I see around me that some people have really struggled with the Korean language. And for me, that was actually difficult at first, but now it's not, right? So learning that sometimes you just need to ask the same idea or the same kind of idea of a question, just in a little bit of a different way to kind of speak to someone more, right? So people know more than they think. So if you just allow people to talk and ask them the right questions. So I got really good at asking the right questions. Sometimes you ask someone one question and they'll just talk for 5 minutes, kind of like me. Another person, you ask them a question, they're like, that question doesn't mean anything to me. I don't really understand anything, or rather, I can't speak about this because I don't know about that specific thing. They know more than they think. Let's ask them in a different way. So you ask them in maybe 2, 3 different ways. And sometimes you can get gold where more beginner interviewers would just give up and go to the next question.
So that's what you think sets apart the novice interviewers and the truly great interviewers.
Absolutely.
What are some interviewers or YouTubers you look up to?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan. I think he's a great interviewer. Recently, I was watching a bit of Lex Friedman, and I think he's one of the best interviewers I've seen in a long time. He asks really seemingly simple questions, but they're really deep. Like he'll be talking with Elon Musk, and Elon's like, you know, I'm working on this thing, I'm working on that thing, I'm developing this thing, and Lex will be like, is it hard being Elon Musk? Or something like that. Like
Something deep.
something really simple but deep. And then Elon will just pause for 10 seconds and be like, I think not a lot of people would want to be me. It's just crazy in my head. He's like, are you lonely, Elon? Like it's just like, and then Elon's like, I am kind of lonely, like it's so he's just really listening and kind of cutting to the hekshim. How do I say
The core.
the core of what the person's really saying. And so I think that like level of intuition will help you a lot, as an interviewer. What are people saying? But then what are they? Why do you think they're saying it? So I think intuition in this way can be very helpful. Kind of like they're saying this much. Maybe is it because this is the bigger picture, or they're saying this thing? Could it possibly be this reason? So that's why I like Lex Friedman. That's why I like Joe Rogan. I think James Lipton, Inside the Actors Studio, is a bit older. So like he would interview really famous people like Edward Norton. He's interviewed many famous people, and he's just a great interviewer.
Well, talking about acting, I saw that your major in university was theater.
Yeah, correct.
Do you think it helped a lot? And
It didn't not help.
did it not help?
Yeah, it wasn't unhelpful, but it wasn't like I would say I'm not really doing a lot related to my major at the moment. I guess it helped me insofar as it gave me more confidence to speak, to talk with people, to ground myself. There was like a meditative aspect to that. Kind of how do I become more authentic? This is really helpful. But like in terms of marketing, editing, filming, cameras, business planning, business communication. I kind of learned all that on my own. I would say if I could go back and do my major over again, I would choose maybe something else.
What's like one of the coolest stories you've heard from your interviews?
Oh, recently, I was asking this guy. We were talking about how safe Korea was, right? And he complimented me on my camera because I have a Sony camera and I just bought it. It's kind of expensive, and he was like, "Yeah, I have the same camera. When I first got to Korea, I put all my bags in the car, and when I got to my hotel, I hadn't taken all my bags out yet. They were still in the trunk. The taxi just drove off." And he's like, "Freak, man, I lost my cameras. The dude's not coming back." He's like trying to call the taxi company. And eventually, after like a week of trying to get it back, he finally found the taxi and got his equipment back. And he thought he was going to lose it. And the dude was trying pretty hard to like avoid contact. And so he was like, "Yeah, I guess the last criminals in Korea are the taxi drivers." And it was just a funny like story. It was pretty crazy.
A lot of your interviews are about foreigners in South Korea. What do you think are the best positive Korea has to offer for foreigners, and then the negatives that comes with Korea?
I think Korea is a really nice place for almost everyone to live for 1 to 2 years. Short term, it's clean, it's safe. Uh, you know, if you're an English teacher or you're working in a company, you can probably get a decent apartment. The food is good. It's extremely convenient. You can get like delivery and stuff. People are friendly. And if you study Korean and you're learning Korean, you can find just tons of stuff to do. Like, dude, you could just open up meetup.com, or find different little groups like a rock climbing group or a language exchange group or a running group. It's so easy to do that here in Seoul. So it's like for 1 to 2 years, it can be incredible. Very attractive for people to do that. I think long term, it's a bit of a different story. The air quality is not the best. If I want to move into like a bigger house and I want to have like 3 floors, have like a nice house for my family with a backyard, that's tough. Near nature, that's tough. Even if I learned Korean now, I've been here for 10 years, me personally. I kind of feel like I'll never truly be like a Korean person, even though I know I'm not Korean, but it kind of feels like there is still a separation between Korean versus not Korean, and that goes beyond language. But again, I still have a nice life here, and I have really good Korean friends, and my girlfriend's Korean, and I get along with her family. So I think the key, if you're living here long term, is just to find really good community of people around you. But again, a lot of people are coming in and out so much. A common complaint is like, "I had great friends, but they all left." So yeah, short term, great. Long term, it has its challenges, but you just have to adapt.
Definitely. And the other thing is just Korea, the population is declining. I think it's the second or the first worst. Do you have any insights, and do you think it'll change, like it'll go up, or do you think more immigrants will come, or what do you think Korea will be in the next 50 years?
Wow.
Just based on your own unique insight.
Sure. I'm just speaking out of my ass right now, but it's very difficult to say. Because Korea, yes, it's one of the worst. And again, this is just my opinion. It's one of the worst in terms of birth rate. Japan is pretty bad too. So are some countries in Europe. Even the US is not the best. So this is a phenomenon happening in Korea, but other places too. There's no right answer. I mean, we have an aging population. But it looks like this, right? Most people are older, and then it's getting like less people as you get younger, and even less here, right? Okay, so people are getting older. We need to take care of them. They're getting sick. They need medicine. But now this amount of people has to take care of this amount of people. It's really bad. We need to bring in and incentivize, sure, immigration. But Korea, I think they're not super open yet to like this kind of super multicultural country. I think they don't have a choice though, right? Now the second option would be, well, maybe, technology and AI could make it easier to take care of these people. It's really hard to say. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I just don't have a strong answer right now. I just don't know.
talking about the future, what's your future plans? Do you think of staying in Korea long term? And where do you want to take your YouTube channel?
I mean, is simple as it sounds. I just think I just need to earn more money and continue to earn more money. And I know like money doesn't fix everything, but I think money is freedom. So through my YouTube, do online business, sell stuff, work with companies, and increase the quality of what I deliver and services and products I offer to both businesses and people. Once I have enough income to where I'm kind of feeling free to live or travel anywhere that fits me the best, I would like to start a family. I want to keep doing YouTube, maybe something related to YouTube consulting, YouTube for like helping a company build their YouTube channel. That might maybe be interesting. But yeah, my first and foremost, my goal is an income goal. And once I hit that and like get that consistently, then I'll be happy. So at the moment, my YouTube, I'm just thinking of it like a business. It's a business.
And how do you think AI, how it's going to affect you? And have you tried utilizing it? And what's your thoughts on AI in terms of affecting the content creation industry?
It's a great question. I think this is just the I think this is the case with a lot of industries. The lower end stuff that doesn't need to be perfect will easily be done by AI. For example, subtitles. I need basic subtitles. They don't need to be formatted very crazy in any crazy ways. It just needs to just show what I'm saying. It could be like a weird sentence, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Just some text on the screen. It listens and it can just shoot it out. Okay, well, I think an AI can do that fine. However, I'm making subtitles for Hollywood. I'm not going to trust AI. It has to be perfect. So, in terms of content creation, in terms of everything, the higher end stuff will still be done by humans, I think, because it's like think about it. If you're going to get surgery or you're going to just do something that's really important, right? Plan a wedding. You want someone who has experience, who's done that, right? I'll pay the top dollar for humans to check it many times, right? There's just that distrust you have of AI to that's gonna make like a 1% mistake, right? Or fuck something up, right? So I see that with content creation as well. If I'm just making a video that's like top 5 ways to, I don't know, make money in 2024, well then the AI can make the B-roll. The AI can make the B-roll. Sora's coming out real soon. You could do an AI voice, and AI can make the script. Sure, that's fine. But if I'm a company and I have a budget of 10 million won to make a really good video, am I going to choose the AI video, or maybe 5 AI videos, or am I going to choose the content creator who's a human who has done this successfully 20 times, right? So I think the higher end stuff will still be human. Same with programming, right? The lower end stuff, okay, I need to create a really simple code to do this, right? But if you're doing something for like an app that has to work, upper end, I think that's going to be human still.
So there's still going to be a mediator, and that's going to be humans.
Somebody's got to mediate it. Somebody's got to check it. And if you want it done really perfectly well at like a Hollywood level quality or something like that, it's going to have to be human, I think, still. What do you think? Would you trust? Yeah. If you're creating like a video for Samsung, right? And it needed to have 4 types of subtitles, or like someone had to edit it. Would you like a really advanced AI editor, or would you like a human editor? That's like,
I would probably use both, I think.
okay.
That's my thought process. And I found it interesting you're talking about the rate where they fail, and it'll always happen, right?
Kind of, yeah.
And it was interesting because in Korea, I was friends with a guy who owns a robotics company, and he was saying Samsung and all these big companies, they don't use AI as much in their workflow, especially when they're carrying heavy things, because there is a chance for error. And when that chance happens, they can't blame it on someone, just on AI, and that's why they're not utilizing it.
That's interesting. I think you. Well, I was talking with another friend about artificial intelligence, and it's like, it's a tool. At the moment, it's a tool. It might become more, But at the moment, it's a tool. At the moment, it's a hammer, right? For example, you can't use a hammer to do everything. You can't kill a fly with a hammer. Maybe you can, but it's not the best way to kill a fly. So you got to give the AI the right jobs. If you give the AI the wrong job, it will maybe make a lot of mistakes or just it's just not good at that type of job, right? So you have to be very careful and smart about giving it the right type of jobs that it can do, right? For example, like generate for me 20 video ideas that have to do with this. AI is great with that. Come up with 5 example sentences for the expression easy peasy, for my English learners. Okay, easy, right? But if you're like, come up with a perfect video script that's like satisfies the needs of this company, but also speaks to my, it's getting too complicated, right? And there's too many negatives too. I find that AI doesn't do well with negatives. Don't use this. Use that. Like it's hard to discern, not do that and do that. Do a little bit less of that. It's not very good at that yet. So that's been my experience. I mean, I might be completely wrong. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. It's just my opinion. But you got to give AI the right job. If you give it the wrong, like too heavy of a weight, it's not going to lift it well. You got to give it like the right job.
Last question. What would you tell yourself if you could time travel back to when you're 17 years old? What would you say?
Buy Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, if I were 17, what would I start? What would I tell myself? Don't worry too much about trying to find a girlfriend. That will come. I think a lot of young guys can be like that whole Romeo and Juliet. Oh, I just need to find my partner and I'll be happy or whatever. I was like that. Focus on getting really good at maybe 1 or 2 things. Things that you can see could perhaps be relevant in the future. But I wouldn't want to put too much pressure on myself either. But perhaps I could gently nudge myself. Maybe it might be good to learn programming. Maybe it might be good to learn some video editing or video filming or stuff like that, because that's going to be relevant for a long time. Also, just go out and talk to people, meet people, get good at communicating, because I think that's also a skill that's just so useful in everything, right? To be able to like persuade people, talk to people, ask people the same question in 3 different ways, all that comes from just being comfortable with yourself, right? And how do you be comfortable with yourself? Well, I think socializing is just a muscle, right? So I would tell myself, go out, meet tons of different type of people, meet lots of people, talk to them. Yeah, traveling too is really good to expand your brain, especially as a young person. I traveled a lot. That helped me. Yeah, I would say these things. If you want, try programming, but I wouldn't want to pressure myself too much. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, I'll do it again if you ever want and you're still in Korea.
Yeah, when you have 1 million subs.
Yeah, sure.